Hi everyone, it's Rose from Dance of the Soul Tarot, and I am here today with a viewer request for the minors of the Minoan Tarot by Ellen Lorenzi-Prince, the fabulous Minoan Tarot, I should say. So, you know, it was hard. I'm not going to show all the minors because I've got this 15-minute limit. And some of them bear talking about because it's such a non-traditional deck. So I went through and picked out some of my favorites. And it was hard. I've got a fairly large stack. It was really hard to choose because the art is just so gorgeous. But I wanted to read you what she says about the number cards before we look at them, because it gives some context for what she's doing, and it's helpful when you're working with those minor energies. So she says, the number cards for Earth, Sea, and Sky, so Pentacles, Cups, and Swords, portray living creatures of those realms. As one of the hallmarks of Minoan art and religion is their exuberant embrace of the natural world around them. The number cards for the art suit show Minoan people engaged in everyday activities. So there's quite a clear delineation between those first three suits and then the last one, art, which is represents wands or fire, of course. So, you know, it's really interesting when you're working with the cards to have that idea, that sense of what she's trying to convey. Also interesting, I found, the Minoans had no known numerology, so a classical assignment of qualities to numbers has been used. There are no symbols to be counted in the images, nor is the number of figures an indication of the card's designation. The Minoan source works were not adulterated to provide this. The images are assigned to the cards by the correspondence of their energies alone. I love that. She's just working with the pure elemental energy and the feeling she's getting from it. Also, they do not represent a progression of quantity, but rather stand for the selected qualities, none of which is greater than another. And then she has her concepts of each number. So ace is individuality, 2 is sensitivity. So interesting because we're so used to thinking of 2s in the form of polarity or duality. 3 is creativity. 4 is practicality. 5s are adaptability. That's another interesting take on the 5s, which can often be seen as challenging cards. But to use the theme of adaptability really gives it a fresh feeling. 6 is harmony. 7s are spirituality. 8 is power. 9 is consciousness, and 10 is transformation. So, you know, it's really helpful to keep that in mind when you're working when those minors come up. And it's the kind of deck where at this point I still, you know, absolutely need the guidebook to get a deeper sense of what she was conveying. I mean, certainly there's the intuitive hit and certain colors and shapes and, you know, even the tilt of a head might speak to me. But having her commentary on it and the messages she has at the end of each card, which I shared in the first 2 videos. So she continues that theme of messages from whatever the particular card is. The court cards she has changed. So they are worker, priestess, master, and mistress. And the worker card pertains to all the earth plane, practical, tangible details and things that need to be worked with, I guess is how she's feeling about it. Very practical. The priestesses naturally deal with the more spiritual qualities of that suit, and then the master and mistress, she said, are the god and goddess of that particular energy. So she, it's a very different system, but it's a very intentional system. And so, having that kind of really clear, that clear paradigm to work with is helpful. So let's get to the cards. I have my little snake totem here accompanying me while I share with you. So let's see. Let us start with the aces. I'm hoping, I think this side is probably better for glare. So, the bull was sacred to the Minoans, and the bull figures prominently throughout the deck. And the colors here, just the colors alone are just so dramatic. That green is gorgeous, and then the sharp contrast of the bull's body and the color she's chosen. It's really wonderful. And those horns, they recall for me that, the crown that Hathor wears, very earthy goddess. Different culture, but similar energy. There is the ace of sea, the sea ace. So this is cups. Beautiful swirling energy. And the art ace. I love this one. I pulled this one today, actually. So she talks about this woman being, how elaborate her hairstyle is, and her dress, her skirt and blouse being very, quite beautiful. And the Minoans did have a very strong aesthetic sense, and some of it is manifest in how they dress. And then finally the sky ace, which is a lovely exploration of blues and grays. Okay, I don't have these in any order, so we'll just go through these are some of my favorites. So Sky 7. Sky 3. So, this would be traditionally the Three of Swords. So you can see it's a very, very different depiction of what we normally see. And these are actually swallows. And she speaks about how even back then, when you'd have, like, I think they call it a murmuration of swallows. So when you see those thousands and thousands of swallows kind of emerging and swooping in the sky together, following some intangible directive that we cannot see. She speaks about that in relation to this and this sense of longing, and to listen to that longing and allow that sense of longing to permeate the heart and to move you along your path. So it's sort of similar, I think. I can feel definite correlations between that kind of energy and the Three of Swords, because you do see this heart pierced with these three swords, and certainly, longing, especially unfulfilled longing, can feel like that, can feel like this tremendous, like your heart is vulnerable, it's so open. C9, I love this one. And dolphins figure really prominently in this deck because, of course, they were surrounded by the ocean. So they have she's got coastal dolphins and sea dolphins. I can't remember which ones these are, but I love the, you know, up here with this beautiful oranges and blues, and then you have that echoed here and then again here. It's gorgeous. Earth 10, beautiful snake energy. Art 10, I love this. Priestesses performing a ritual. Earth 5. So, you know, you can see that the shapes are very simple. So it's a very specific kind of art. And, you know, I know it does not appeal to everybody, but for me, because the art is so simple and the shapes are so basic, the color really plays a role. I think I spoke about that when I was doing the majors, sharing the majors, that you know, the color plays such a strong role because the shapes are so simple. I love this one too, Art 3. Beautiful. This is a terracotta figurine of a mother with her child, I think offering the child to the goddess for a blessing, to receive a blessing. Love this. Oh, just love everything about it. The movement in it, the fluidity, even though it's an air card, and then the gorgeous swan or goose. I cannot remember which one. But just the back and forth between this energy and then the colors. I love this. I mean, you know, this could be a number of these cards I could happily have hanging in my home as pieces of art. Earth 7. So you see lots of animals. Sky 8, beautiful. I love this. Earth 3 again. Simple lines, the colors, you know, she's chosen this red with, it's not a white, it's a cream, and something about the red and the cream together just really sings. Art 6. So this is probably, let me see what she says about this, because this is a ruddy skinned person, which makes me think it must be a man wearing, so it's a musician playing a lyre on a painted stone sarcophagus from the New Palace period. So then she goes on to talk about the instruments used. And so here she says, the musician is a male, as evidenced by his reddish-brown skin, the standard color used in Minoan art to depict a man. However, he is dressed in a woman's robe, dyed the sacred yellow of the bright goddess, because he is performing the role of a priestess in a ritual. So I think there was a lot of that back and forth sharing of roles. So this card is all about musicality and the gift of the musician to help us step out of the rational mind and into something more radiant. Oh, this is fun. She says, messages from the musician. Feel the tones, buzzes, squeaks, and rhythms within yourself. Imagine how their energies might converge into harmonic expression. Give it room, and your creativity will take you to new places. So it's quite lovely. And once again, we're coming up to 15 minutes. So this will have to be a two-parter. So I will see you on the other side.